Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in another episode of Pickup Lines, presented by Gomez Law Firm, Integrity Roofing and Siding, and the Savalon Group. We are live once again inside the all-electric Lexus RZ 450e, courtesy of North Park Lexus of San Antonio and North Park Lexus at Dominion. And you were saying your mom drives a car like this?
Yeah, my mom has this exact model, this color, even this trim, because my brother-in-law is the GM of North Park Lexus, Rio Grande Valley.
Shout
he
out.
showed up, and I was like, is that Ernie or my mom?
Mom!
What are you doing here, Mom?
Unless your mom's doing a show in her car as well. But this is Delisi Friday, and I had to catch myself because I wanted to say Delisi Duarte.
Yeah.
We were reminiscing here just a little while ago, and I'm so glad. First of all, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for
I
having
wanted
me.
to have this conversation with you for a little while, and you were reminding me, because you're younger and have better memory than I do, that we met in circa 2007.
Yes, 2007, on your show.
Gosh. So we should explain. I guess we can kind of set the scene.
Yeah,
How you
please.
came on the show and what was happening in your life in 2007.
Yes, so I am, and I brought my object,
I see that.
Miss Latino World, 2007 to 2008.
I remember that sash. Believe it or
Yeah,
not.
do you?
I do. Because I know you were photographed a lot in it, and you did a lot of events and everything. I will say this. One of the reasons I wanted to have the conversation is because I think you've done something. This is my personal feeling. I think you've done something pretty remarkable this summer and in your recent life that I want. And you've been very open about it.
Yes.
So I'm not looking to probe here or looking to put her on the spot.
Yeah.
But these are a lot of things we're going to talk about are things that are already out there. And I just think it's so great that you have been vulnerable and put yourself out there. I know it's certainly impacted me in a positive way. And I suspect for those who haven't seen it yet, will probably be impacted in a certain way. But I know that as I was reading up about your experience with Miss Latino World and everything, I'm sure when you won, it was amazing. But wasn't it in the years subsequent after that, you really struggled with that title?
Yeah, you know what's so interesting is, and I think you can probably relate because you were in the news for so long, I was Miss Latino World 2007 to 2008, and when I gave up my title, I had done so much community work in San Antonio.
Right.
Anywhere that I would go, I wasn't Delisi anymore. I was Miss Latino World. And so I felt like I kind of lost my name. I was just my title. And so people just associated Delisi with Miss Latino World. But it did take a little bit of time after to be like, I'm actually Delisi. Miss Latino World is a part of who I am.
Right.
But it doesn't define me.
Right.
And so that was a struggle of mine, yeah.
Well, you also talk about, too, how people would see you based on your looks and everything and either make judgments or assumptions based on your appearance. And obviously winning a title like that would suggest as I like to say, the camera agrees with you.
Yeah.
You know, you're a good-looking person, but that people would give you a hard time on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There were times where, obviously, when you do live television,
Right.
someone would ask me a question, and I knew they were asking just to see if I would fumble.
So like gauge your intelligence?
Yes, yes, and thankfully they didn't. Or I think as soon as you have a title like Miss Latino World, they think it's fair game to ask some questions that can drum up some feelings. And I never wanted to be that person. I wanted to represent my community well, but I didn't want to have one of those moments live on air.
Got it. And, social media was still pretty new at that time, and, the internet was getting going, and smartphones like this wasn't possible. But, I mean, there was still the possibility of some not-so-nice people out there, which we still deal with to this day, obviously. But kind of, parallel with all of this is the legal fascination you've had for many, many years. I read you grew up, watching, was it attorneys or lawyer TV shows?
Yes.
And your father was an attorney.
Yes. My father is a lawyer. Fun fact, my dad actually became a lawyer the day I was born. So I feel like being in the legal industry, right? Being in the legal industry was just like meant for me. And so I've been surrounded by lawyers, and I literally grew up in a law firm since I was a little kid.
Right.
So,
But you said you watched like VHS tapes of
yes.
Like, I grew up watching, like Perry Mason and Matlock and some of these other attorneys on TV, and there's still plenty of them out there today. But you
Yes.
you did that.
Yes. So, I mean, I was growing up in the 80s and 90s.
Nothing wrong with that.
And so back then, they didn't have these huge conferences that lawyers would all fly to get their CLE, continued legal education hours.
Right.
My dad would buy VHS tapes of these wonderful trial lawyers trying to share their experience with others, and I'd be in the living room watching Jerry Spence talking to a jury panel.
So it's training videos, essentially.
Yes.
Not like a drama.
No.
Not like Law and Order, something like that. This
No.
is literally like training
videos.
And you took to it.
Yeah.
Are you a good? Can you argue really good?
I mean,
I'm
guess
not
that's
looking
debatable.
I'm not looking to bait you into an argument right now. It is debatable. It is debatable.
No pun intended.
Now, did you ever? Because you yourself have never pursued becoming a lawyer, or have you?
No. So what happened was I actually did the Miss Latino World pageant
Right.
for the $25,000 scholarship for school. So I used that scholarship, went to UTSA, go Red Runners.
Yes, birds up.
And then I worked in my dad's office to study for the LSAT because I wanted to go to St. Mary's, just like my dad did for law school.
Right.
And when I was in his office, my dad did a lot of different kinds of law, and one of them was family law.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would be in the office, and in family law, people are not having the best time.
Yeah,
they're getting divorced, they're going through stuff. It's very emotional.
Sure.
And I'm a very emotional person. And so I think sometimes what people forget is lawyers are paid to take on the burdens of others, and it can be a lot.
Over an extended period of time.
Yes. And for multiple people.
Yes.
And so I realized because of family law, I can't be a lawyer. I love lawyers and I love the law, but if you tell me I have to litigate in court, and if I lose something, the stakes are high. Like I can't
Well,
do
you
it.
put it that way. I mean, I understand now.
Yeah.
I get it. But then you took to marketing, or you realized like the law, you were still very passionate about it, and growing up in a law firm and everything. So you realized maybe you could, from a marketing perspective, you could serve a purpose.
Yes. So then I fell in love with legal marketing because I enjoy marketing so much. It's very similar to public relations and talking with people. Obviously, I enjoy talking with people.
Yes.
And I fell in love with legal marketing, and then I realized through my professional career, I could make a career out of connecting lawyers with other lawyers.
Right.
And I grew up in legal, and so I've known lawyers and judges on the bench now since I was a little kid.
Right.
And it was perfect for me. I could still be involved in the community, the legal community, and connect people and help people, and I loved it.
And not litigate cases and have the
Someone
emotional
else can do
attachment that and so you did that. I know you gained experience and knowledge, and you were working your way up, and I want to get to your most recent position and the man you worked for, which I know you were very close to, and then we'll get into what happened after that. But how did you land that situation?
So I was with a personal injury firm here in San Antonio for 7 years, and at that time I was headhunted for the role I ended up taking for 2 years, and the job was chief of staff to RJon Robbins.
Right.
And RJon Robbins is a very successful serial entrepreneur. He's an 8-figure entrepreneur with multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses, but they're all in legal. And he's very well known for being the co-founder of How to Manage a Small Law Firm.
Right.
So when I got the call, I was like, oh my God, this is a great opportunity. And then I had to Google, what is a chief of staff?
Right.
Because what is a chief of staff?
But also, isn't he in Florida?
Yes, he is. He's in Miami, Florida.
Right.
So it was a remote position, but it was a real opportunity to learn from someone who has helped thousands of lawyers across the country learn how to run their firm. Lawyers go to law school to learn how to be a lawyer. They don't learn how to run a business.
Sure.
And so when they become law firm owners, it's a struggle. So it was totally in line with helping and working with lawyers and working with a man I could learn a lot from. So I took the job, and I was there for 2 years.
So you were there for 2 years, and it almost seemed like at times like a position that was created, or you were created for this position.
It felt like that eventually, but I will tell you, at first there was a lot of doubt. Like I wasn't sure I could do it because I didn't have that confidence yet. I
Right.
had never done a role like that before. I had never worked for someone like that who's a real thought leader in the industry. I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to let myself down. And then once I got in the groove, I was like, woo, I'm meant to do this.
Yeah. And you were on your way doing your thing.
Yeah.
I should mention, if you go on to Delisi's LinkedIn page today, it shows, work experience and everything. It shows that currently, right now, your position, if you will, is a summer sabbatical.
Yes.
You've listed that as, so, of course, that implies that you're no longer with the company. You are on a sabbatical, and we'll get into all of that in just a minute. At what point, when you were with RJon, did you know something was wrong and that this was not, the trajectory was not going to continue to go up?
First of all, he sensed it. He's so good at reading people. He sensed it. But then I had a very open relationship with him that I talked with him about my struggles. I gave my job so much that I didn't give myself enough time for my family, and it started to seep through. And so he could tell, and I could tell, and we started to have conversations when it started to become, I'm a very happy person.
Yes.
And when your soul is not right, it comes through. And so it started to come through. And so we started to have really open conversations about it.
You said, I lost myself in work. And I think that, it's, what is that, 5 words? I think that is something that a lot of people can relate to, whether they will admit it or not. But you admitted it, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you had to decide, and it sounds like RJon could not have been more supportive, but that you had to make a dramatic, not just like a little change or like, let me take a weekend here. Like, you did something very dramatic.
Yes. So, I will say this. I didn't realize it until I did something about it. So what RJon suggested was, he teaches lawyers to take 30 days off, emergency access only, and talks about the value and the benefit in doing that, not just for lawyers, for anybody.
Right.
And he teaches it. So he said, you can do this too, Delisi. You need to do this. You need a break. And I thought, okay, I just need a vacation.
Right.
I need a vacation. But when I took that break, I realized I didn't need a vacation. I needed time to assess, what does success look like for me? Personally, professionally, financially, what makes me happy? I had lost what... Sorry, I don't mean to get emotional.
No!
I had lost what makes me happy. I thought happiness was feeling like I was successful professionally, and I wanted that so badly that I lost who I was along the way.
I'm telling you, and again, this is going to resonate with a lot of people because, I'll spare you my story. I won't bore you with all my details, but clearly I needed to make a change last year, and I did. And I think that's probably why what you've done has resonated. But I can see how difficult a decision it was at the time. And then, 30 days. What happened here is you took the 30 days. And when you say emergency only, it was like no social media, none of that.
So that's how he describes it to lawyers. But it was 30 days off, and emergency access only means he's not going to contact me, and I'm not going to talk to anyone unless it's an emergency. But you know what was a real tell? The first week, I was still looking at my work emails. I was like, 30 days off. You know what?
Yeah.
My work emails are going to get down so low. This is going to be great. And out of love, they disconnected my email access.
What?
Yes. He was like, we're doing this with love, Delisi.
Yes.
You need to fully disconnect. We live in a
I
world
know.
where everyone stays connected. They don't put their phones down. They don't disconnect entirely.
I would have done the same thing. They would have had to kill my email.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, so you're doing this, but then you take to LinkedIn. I don't know if you did it on other platforms as well, but you took to LinkedIn in particular, and you put very detailed posts together, and they're on there right now. If you want, after this, you want to go photos and kind of, I don't know, like a diary or a journal, if you will, like kind of play-by-play.
I did.
Why did you decide to do that and not only take the break, but then put yourself out there like that?
I did it for 2 reasons. One, I'm in marketing and I love storytelling. And so it just comes
my kind of woman. Yes.
It's very naturally to me to tell my story, right? But the other part of it was I felt like I needed people to hear it so they knew they weren't alone. And I wanted to make sure that people knew I was a person too, struggling with things that they struggle with too.
Right.
And I wanted there to be a memory of it. And honestly, documenting it helped me really understand what it was that I was going through and what was happening to me during that time.
Right, right. So you're obviously married. Your husband is in the mix, and then you guys have a young daughter. How much did they sense what was happening? And when you come to them with this decision that you're leaving your job and you're going to take the sabbatical, how did the family unit? How did they take that?
So that's what drove my decision. I fully intended to go back to work after 30 days. I was like, I just need a break. But my daughter, when I was taking the 30 days off, would say things like, Mom, you're not on your phone. Mom, you're not checking emails. Mom, I really enjoy you spending time with me. And that, ooh, man, when she said that, I realized I was focusing so much on work. I didn't realize how much it impacted her.
Right. No.
And so she drove my decision. And I talked with my husband very openly about it. And he said, look, we're never going to get this time back. Yeah. Before I know it, my daughter is going to get married and have kids of her own. I'm never going to get that time back. So I realized then, because of her, and in having those conversations with my husband, my husband is my best friend. I talked about all of the feelings I had throughout the whole thing. And he supported me 100%.
Yeah. Look, my oldest is going off to college on Friday of this week. So... It goes. Oh. It goes quick.
Yeah.
Telling you. I do this show in part just to keep me sane from all this craziness and everything. So, and my twins are going into high school next week. So just it's enjoy the ride. Yeah. So, but again, so you talked about that, and you put it in chunks of time, and then you realize after 30 days, you said that wasn't enough. You needed more. So was it like the summer sabbatical you decided to take?
Yeah. So. Once I got closer to 30 days, obviously I would check in, right, and let them know how I was feeling, but I realized it needed to be more than that. So then I did officially resign, which is scary, because doing that meant I was leaving a stable job, a job I knew was a real opportunity to do something for myself and take that time for myself, not knowing what the future would hold.
Right.
And so then... I resigned, and I didn't put a timeline on it.
Yeah.
But I did create a list with my daughter, and I said, what are the things we want to do with our time? Because I wanted it to be intentional. I didn't want days and weeks and months to pass, and I felt like nothing came of it. So we created a list. Totally alpha of me. We created a list.
That's good.
And each day and each week we would do something as simple as go get ice cream. You know?
Right. Well, I have part of a list here. You had 4 things. It said, don't stop working out and being active, plan dedicated family time, financial health is critical. Obviously, not everybody can just take 100 days off. I know you and your husband planned this, and you had it all figured out, so you're able to do that. And remember what makes you happy. I should mention, too, as if all of this was not enough, right? Heavy enough and emotional enough. You've talked openly on social media about losing weight. You've had multiple miscarriages. It's just... I don't had did you have to go to therapy, or did you have any other outside help besides your family?
No, I didn't. But I realized, you mentioned working out and staying active. I realized when I took that sabbatical, you had Sarah Lucero on the show last week.
I did.
And I watched that, and I totally connected when she said, if I don't work out, I get grumpy.
Yes.
I don't get grumpy, but you have all these endorphins that come out, and you feel so great after a workout. When I stopped doing that, I realized it made me not my happy, energetic, outgoing self.
Yeah.
And so being active and working out helped me remember I do it for my personal health and also to stay in shape, but I want to live longer and I want to be happy, and doing that makes me happy. Yeah,
I love it. All right, so you brought your sash, which you showed off here a little while ago, and you also brought a probably the largest pine cone I've ever seen. And I want you to hold it up so you can see the scale of this. This is her Yeti, by the way, and that's how big the pine cone is. It's beautiful. I'm guessing you didn't get that here in San Antonio.
No, Ernie, how far is your reach? Because if this goes all the way to California, someone from Yosemite National Park is probably going to contact
I've had
me.
people from Puerto Rico and across the world watch, will chime in occasionally.
I don't know if I was supposed to take it or not, but it had such an important meaning to me. I've also never seen a pine cone that big before.
Can we see it again?
Yeah.
So you were at Yosemite recently? Oh my, this is
from Yosemite National Park.
It's delicate too. I don't want it. So you saw this. It obviously spoke to you in some way, and you brought it with you because it obviously means something to you. So what's the significance of this guy?
So actually, I have done therapy before, and RJon introduced me to a doctor that did some hypnosis therapy on me.
Yeah.
And in doing that, you had to create a symbol, and it was something you could think of, touch, or feel that brought you joy, happiness, and calm. And mine was pine cone. And so when I went to the forest and I found this huge pine cone, the biggest one I've ever seen in my life, I was
too.
like, this is my symbol. This is what makes me calm and happy. And like, there's something about being grounded in the world that just makes you feel better.
Give this back to you.
So I took this sucker, put it in my suitcase.
Cleared through security and TSA and everything, and it's back here in San Antonio to live forever.
It's a reminder. I went to Yosemite National Park. I've never done that. It's a beautiful place, and I just wanted to remember that peaceful, breathtaking views.
You saw sunrise there and everything.
Oh my God.
You mentioned, you talked about that.
I'm not a morning person, which is why I never did morning news. But by golly, waking up to see that sunrise in Yosemite National Park, everyone should do that once in their life.
Yeah. It's a bucket list item for sure.
Yes.
All right. A few more minutes here with Delisi Friday. Again, this is a conversation, and I'm so thrilled and appreciative that, again, you've been willing to put yourself out there and open up and everything. The good news is it sounds like the sabbatical is coming to an end.
Yes. Today is day 114.
Oh. Okay.
And at the end of the month, I will be getting back to work. I wanted to commit to all summer with my daughter, and I did. She went back to school this week. I know a lot of people have kids going back to school. She's going back to school. Mom is going back to work. So yes.
Is it going to be something in the legal universe still?
It'll still be in legal marketing, working with attorneys, referring cases out, referring cases in, doing what I love. The sabbatical reminded me I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing what I should be doing.
So then 114 days later, at whatever place you were in on day one and where you are today, like what is Delisi today like compared to Delisi 114 days ago?
Delisi today is more relaxed, and very sure of what brings me happiness in my life.
Right.
What success looks like for me personally, professionally, financially, and very aware that I have to make sure I don't give all of myself to work, that I forget about what really matters in life. I work to live. I don't live to work.
Got it.
And I forgot that along the way.
You should do a TED Talk on this. Like, it should be like, and I know you said you would do one.
Oh,
like,
I would totally
this has
do a TED Talk.
Lecture, TED Talk written all over
TED Talk, if you're listening, yes.
This is so great. What else are, what are the things do you want to conquer, and what are some other things that you'd like to do still?
I think at some point I want to figure out, because this is totally a journey for me. I haven't figured it all out. I want to figure out that work-life balance that just seems so far-fetched.
Yeah.
I want to figure that out, because I don't want to be in this place again. I just turned 40 this year, and I want this next decade in my life to have meaning and purpose. And I don't want to wonder what if, and I don't want to feel bad about missing out on something. So I want to get back to work, but also make sure that it doesn't impact me personally and my family. That's a huge one for me.
Do you think, as you have the sash here, like, as difficult as it was at times for you, I mean, would you, if you had it to do all over again, would you not do that again?
Oh, that's a tough question. No, I would absolutely do it all over again.
Yeah.
When people ask me what was it like to be Miss Latino World, I tell them it was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me all at once. But I wouldn't change that experience at all. It made me who I am today. And I feel so much more connected to everyone in San Antonio because I was out there every week, every weekend, just connecting and seeing how beautiful our city is.
I do remember that and everything. But I'm just so thrilled for what you've become, and that you've allowed a lot of us to take the journey with you kind of that way. And I would encourage you, if you haven't already done so, I know is LinkedIn probably the most active you're on?
LinkedIn.com/Delisi Friday. I can post it in the
if you want to,
comments.
or just search
anyone
is
welcome. I shared it on LinkedIn because I felt like that was the platform where people could resonate with my story, because if anyone's going to get lost in work, it's going to be the people on LinkedIn
crowd.
so I shared my story very openly on there.
Indeed. Well, listen, best of luck to you in your new endeavor and everything, and I can't wait to see what the post-sabbatical Delisi does and all of that. And or TED Talk or a podcast or a book.
Yes, I thought about it.
Write a book.
Yeah. Or just like creating my own podcast and doing it.
You've done podcasting. Well, you've done in the legal podcasting.
Legal podcasting is something I'm known for. And I feel like this story needs to be told more so other people don't think that they're alone, and also that it's okay to say, hey, where am I in my life? Let me just take a quick
even at 39, 40. In my case, I was 47. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. We should all do that. And I'm not saying for 30 days, not everyone can do that. I recognize that. But, like, take a day, take an afternoon. Or a couple
hours for some people can make all the difference.
Just commit to doing that for yourself and living life the way that you want to live it.
I love it. Well, I know we're going to continue to stay in touch, and I'll be watching. I'll be a fan from afar, just watching you do your thing. So thank you again for being on and for being so open and sharing.
Yeah,
appreciate that. All the best to you. Delisi Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Getting it done and inspiring people in a positive way. All right. I feel better already.
Doesn't this feel good?
I feel good. Like I said, this show is therapy for me sometimes. So thank you. All right. There's another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gomez Law Firm, Integrity Roofing and Siding, and the Sabinal Group. We'll be back again very soon. You never know who will be sitting here in the front seat. So hope you'll join us next time. Bye for now.